Hello children, welcome to online video classes. In our last video, we discussed regarding the class Bryophyta, in which we have studied the general characteristics of the bryophytes and also the uses of bryophytes, both economically how they are important as well as ecologically how they are important. Both we have studied in our last video. In today's class, we will study the different groups of plants included in the bryophytes. The bryophytes involves two main groups of plants. One are liverworts, the other one are mosses. Liverworts and mosses are the two main groups of plants included in the class Bryophyta. Let us study one by one. The first group of plants of class Bryophyta are liverworts. Where you find liverworts are growing? As I told you in the general characteristic features of bryophytes that usually the bryophytes are adapted on the land but need water for fertilization. The liverworts are found growing in the moist, shady places because they are bryophytes. Remember, liverworts are found growing in the moist, shady places. Shady places means where the sunlight is not properly available. Like maybe on the banks of the streams. Banks of the streams means where we can find the water is moving on the banks of the water streams. You can find the liverworts are growing. Or else you can also find the bryophytes growing on the marsh grounds, means waterlogged areas. Or else you can also find them in the damp soil. They will be growing on the damp soil or else on the bark of the trees. You can see them growing on the bark of the trees or deep inside the wood. There you can see the picture where you can see the bryophytes, particularly the liverworts, are growing in the shady places, and also you can see one wood on which the bryophytes are spreading. Like this, the liverworts are found growing in the moist, shady places. And how is the body of liverworts? Some have thalloid plant body and some liverworts are of leafy members. Remember, there are some liverworts where you can find some are having thalloid plant body and some are of leafy members. For thalloid plant body, you can take Mercantia as an example. Remember, for thalloid plant body, you can take Mercantia as an example where you can find the thallus is dorsiventral. The thallus of the Mercantia is dorsiventral. What is dorsiventral? Dorsiventral means the dorsal and ventral surface. The dorsal and ventral surface can be differentiated. Means they don't appear same in both the dorsal region as well as in ventral region. They differ from dorsal and ventral surface. Hence we say the thallus of Mercantia is dorsiventral. And remember, usually the Mercantia is closely appressed to the substratum. You can see in the picture where the Mercantia is closely appressed, means closely attached to the substratum. Remember, the Mercantia is having flattened dorsiventral thallus which is closely appressed to the substratum, and they are attached to the substratum, as I told you in the last video, with the help of the root-like structures called as rhizoids. Remember, the thallus of Mercantia is attached to the substratum with the help of root-like structures called rhizoids, which perform two functions. One is fixation. It helps in fixation of the plant body, and one more function is the absorption of water. The rhizoids perform two functions. One is it helps in fixing, and another function is it helps in absorption of water and minerals. Hence, rhizoids perform the same function as the roots does. This is about thalloid plant body in Mercantia coming under liverworts. And also you find some of the liverworts having leafy members. There are some liverworts wherein you find leafy members. Leafy members means whether they have true leaves? No. They don't have true leaves, but they have leaf-like structures or leaf-like appendages attached. Remember, in leafy members of liverworts, you find an upright stem-like structure. You can find an upright stem-like structure on which you find two rows of leafy appendages attached. On the stem-like structure, two rows of leafy appendages are attached, or leaf-like structures are attached in two rows on the erect stem-like structure in the leafy members of liverworts. Like this, you find two types of body form in the liverworts. Some are having thalloid plant body, some are leafy members. Then how do they reproduce? Remember how the reproduction takes place in the liverworts. They reproduce by vegetative method as well as you can find sexual reproduction. Vegetatively, the liverworts reproduce by the process called fragmentation. By the process called fragmentation. In the fragmentation, the thallus means the plant body of the liverworts splits or breaks into two or more than two fragments, and each fragment will develop into the new plant body. This is vegetative method. Or else in the liverworts you can find one more method wherein they reproduce by producing an asexual reproductive structures. By producing an asexual reproductive structures called gamete. Gamete is plural, gamma is singular. Remember, you can see on the screen where you can find gamma structures are clearly visible on the thallus of the liverworts. Remember, usually they reproduce vegetatively either by fragmentation and asexually by producing the specialized structures, asexual reproductive structures called gamete. How beautiful they are looking on the thallus of the liverworts. Remember, what are gamete, how they reproduce, how they help in reproduction, how they appear actually. Gamete, these asexual structures are actually multicellular. They are multicellular, appear green in color. They are multicellular, appear green in color, and they are asexual buds. They are asexual buds and produced within a small receptacle-like structure. They are produced within a small receptacle-like structure and which appear as a cup-like structures, and those cup-like receptacle structures are called as gamma cups. Remember, the gamete are produced within a small cup-like structures formed on the thallus called as gamma cups. Remember, usually on the thallus of the liverworts, a receptacle, cup-shaped structures are produced in which the asexual buds are produced called as gamete, which are green in color, multicellular asexual buds. How they help in reproduction? Remember, when these gamete they detach or get separated from the parent body, they germinate to develop into the new thallus. They germinate into new thallus and helps in forming the new liverworts. Gamete are asexual green multicellular buds which are produced within gamma cups. When they detach or get separated from the parent body, they germinate under favorable or suitable conditions and give rise to new plant body. This is about asexual reproduction and vegetative method which we see in the liverworts. I said you liverworts also reproduce by sexual method. Sexually, as usual, they produce male and female gametes. But for producing male and female gametes, the sex organs are essential. What are the sex organs in bryophytes? I told in my last video, the male sex organ is antheridium and the female sex organ is archegonium. Remember, the male sex organ is antheridium, the female sex organ is archegonium, and sexual reproduction takes place with the help of these sex organs. But remember, the sex organs, male and female sex organs, may lie on the same plant body or in two different thallus as male thallus and female thallus, as we see in Mercantia. Remember, male thallus will be having male sex organ, that is antheridium. Female sex organ will be present on the female thallus, that is archegonium. Like this, two sex organs may be present on two different thallus or may be present on the same thallus. You can see in the figure where it is showing there are two thallus, the male thallus and female thallus. The male thallus is having antheridium and the female thallus is having archegonium. The male thallus will produce antherozoids and female thallus archegonium, within which the egg cell is produced or female gamete is produced. You can see the antherozoids through the water reach the female sex organ, that is archegonium. Enters inside, fertilizes the egg cell, the zygote is formed. After zygote is formed, what happens? The zygote will develop into the new plant body, that is diploid sporophytic plant body. Diploid sporophytic plant body. The zygote which is formed develops into diploid sporophytic plant body. Remember, in bryophytes, the sporophytic plant body is not free living, but it is remaining attached on the gametophytic plant body for extraction of nutrition. In the liverworts, the sporophytic plant body is differentiated into three main parts. Remember, in the liverworts, the sporophytic plant body which is developing from the zygote is differentiated into three main parts, which involves foot, seta, and at the tip there will be a capsule. Remember, there will be foot, seta, and at the tip you can find capsule. And what happens in the sporophytic plant body? In the sporophytic plant body, within the seta, the cells will undergo meiosis, or we can say reductional division. Reductional division to produce haploid spores. Remember, in the capsule, some of the cells will undergo meiosis, which is a reductional division to produce haploid spores. When the capsule will rupture and release the spores, these haploid spores are released, they germinate to produce the new plant body. The new plant body which is developing from the spores is the haploid gametophytic plant body. Is haploid gametophytic plant body. As usual, the gametophytic plant body will be having the sex organs, will again produce the gametes, fuse to form zygote. Zygote will develop into sporophytic plant body. which will produce the spores. They will germinate. Again it will produce the gametophytic plant body. Like this, you can see the cycle of the liverworts will be continued from zygote to sporophyte, sporophyte to spores, spores to gametophytic plant body, and gametophytic plant body yield zygote. These are some of the characteristics of liverworts. To give some examples for liverworts, you can take Mercantia and Riccia. Mercantia and Riccia are the two plants coming under liverworts. This is all about the liverworts coming under bryophytes. Next we will study the next group of plants present in the bryophytes. They are mosses. Mosses are the another group of bryophytes. Remember, as it is the bryophytes, here also the main or dominant plant body in the mosses as usual will be haploid gametophytic plant body. The dominant plant body in the mosses also is haploid gametophytic plant body. But remember, the gametophytic plant body consists of two stages. Remember, the gametophytic plant body, which is a dominant phase of the mosses, consists of two main stages. One is protonema and the second one is leafy stage. Like this, the gametophytic plant body of the mosses consists of two stages. One is protonema of mosses, another one is the leafy stage. Let us study one by one. The first stage, gametophytic stage of mosses is protonema. It is the first stage of the mosses and it is a gametophytic plant body and it will be developing from the haploid spores. The protonema is the first stage of mosses which is directly developing from the spores. And how does it appear? It is actually just a chain of cells, filamentous type, means protonema is not having a complex body structure but just it is a filamentous structure, means it is having a chain of cells which will be creeping along the ground, and sometimes it gets branched. Remember, I repeat again, the first stage or first gametophytic stage of the moss is protonema, which is a simple plant body developed from the spores. It is filamentous, creeping along the ground and it is getting branched. And from the protonema or from the first stage, a lateral buds are produced. On the protonema, the small lateral buds are produced and from those buds, the second stage will develop. What is the second stage of mosses? The second stage of mosses is the leafy stage. Remember, as I told you, the protonema on which a side lateral branch, or we can say the small bud which is arising as a secondary protonema, that secondary protonema will develop into a leafy stage. How does this leafy stage appears? The leafy stage of the mosses is having long slender axis, means a stem-like structure. Remember, in the leafy stage of mosses, you can find there is a long slender structure which we can say the stem-like structure. On that stem-like structure, you can find spirally arranged. You can find spirally arranged leaf-like structures. On the stem-like structure, that is long slender axis, you can find the spirally arranged leaf-like structures. This is leafy stage. The first stage was protonema. The second stage is leafy stage. The first stage is very simple. Just a filamentous, means chain of cells growing or creeping along the ground, and it gets branched while growing. And from that protonema, the secondary protonema, or we can say some lateral buds which are forming, from that the leafy stage will develop. The leafy stage is having long slender axis on which you can find the leaf-like spirally arranged structures. This is about the leafy stage or the second stage of the mosses. But remember how these leafy stage of mosses are attached to the substratum. They should attach to the soil because to get the water and minerals. How the leafy stage of the mosses attached to the soil? They are attached with the help of multicellular branched root-like structures called rhizoids. Remember, I repeat again, usually the leafy stage of mosses is attached to the substratum, or we can say soil, with the help of a multicellular branched root-like structures called as rhizoids. Leafy stage is the second stage of gametophyte. Gametophyte means compulsory they will be having sex organs. Compulsory they will be having sex organs. Hence you don't find sex organs in the first stage, that is protonema, but they are developed in the second stage, that is leafy stage. The second stage of gametophyte, that is leafy stage of the mosses, develops the sex organs. The sex organs are male sex organ antheridium, female sex organ archegonium. And also they reproduce by vegetative method. Also they reproduce by vegetative method, wherein two types of vegetative methods are seen. One is fragmentation, another one is budding. In fragmentation, the plant body will split into fragments, and the fragments will develop into new plant body. Then what about in the budding? In the budding, remember I told you the protonema, means first stage of gametophyte, will be creeping along the ground, during which it may produce the branches, which we call it as secondary protonema. Those buds which are producing may get detached and may develop into the new plant body. This is how the budding takes place. Remember, the vegetative method takes place in two ways. One is budding and another one is the fragmentation. You can see in the figure where you can find the sporophytic leafy stage which is found attached on the gametophytic plant body. Means from the main plant body, that is gametophytic plant body, which is actually photosynthetic, from that sporophytic plant body, means non-photosynthetic, free living, not free living, but gets the nourishment from the gametophytic plant body. This is how in the leafy stage you can find which is attached to the gametophytic plant body. Next, we will study the sexual reproduction. How do the mosses reproduce? As I told you, the mosses produces the sex organs in the leafy stage. Where they produce the sex organs? Usually in the leafy stage, you can find the slender axis, that is stem-like structure. At the tip of the slender axis or at the shoot apex, we can say, shoot-like structure apex, you can find the sex organs are produced, which can be seen in the figure where you can see the gametophytic plant body producing the antheridium and archegonium at the tip of the shoot apex. At the tip of the shoot apex. The male sex organ is antheridium and the female sex organ is archegonium. The male sex organ antheridium is producing antherozoids and archegonium is producing the female gamete. The male gamete antherozoid fuses with the female gamete to form the diploid zygote. Again, zygote will develop into the sporophytic plant body. In the previous picture I shown you, where the sporophytic plant body is getting attached to the gametophytic plant body. Remember, like this, the sex organs are produced at the tip of the shoot or shoot-like structure. And the gametes will fuse to form the diploid zygote, and that zygote will develop into the sporophytic plant body. As I told you in liverworts, here also you can differentiate the sporophytic plant body into three parts. The basal one is foot, through which it is attached to the gametophytic plant body, long stack-like structure called seta, and at the tip you can find capsule. At the tip you can find capsule. But remember, the sporophytic plant body is a little bit more developed when compared to liverworts. And within the capsule, the cells will undergo meiosis, and after undergoing meiosis, the cells will produce haploid spores. And these haploid spores, which are produced within the capsule, once they are completely developed, the capsule will rupture to release the spores. And they have well developed spore dispersal adaptation. Remember, the mosses show well-developed spore dispersal mechanism where they get dispersed in different regions, and once under suitable conditions, the spores will germinate to give rise to haploid gametophytic plant body. But remember, the spores which are released from the mosses will germinate to give rise to the first stage, that is protonema. And from that protonema, the second stage will be developed, that is leafy stage, on which sex organs are formed, which will produce gametes, fuse to form zygote, will develop into sporophytic plant body and produce the spores. Again the cycle will repeats. These are all the general characteristics of the mosses. Then coming to the examples for mosses. First example is Funaria. The first example is Funaria. The second one is Polytrichum. Remember, the second example is Polytrichum. And the last moss which I have explained you in the economic importance involved in the production of peat, that is spanum. The third example for moss is the spanum, which is economically highly valuable for the production of peat, where it is used commercially either as a fuel or for transshipment or transportation of living materials. Funaria, Polytrichum and spanum are the examples for mosses. So, these are the characteristics of mosses. With this, we have completed both the groups of plants included in the bryophytes. In our next video, we will discuss regarding the third class coming under plant kingdom, that is Pteridophyta. The third group of plants coming under plant kingdom will be discussed, that is Pteridophyta. See you in the next video with the general characteristics and the examples of Pteridophyta. Until then, take care.